What up, YouTube? This is Daniel Rucker with True Table. Welcome to the table. Now that I got your attention, go ahead, hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. We're going to talk about something that I know most people deal with. And I can personally speak on this because I've lived it. Now, and that is Platonic relationships between men and women. Are they possible? Can they be done successfully? Some may say no. Some may say yes. But let's talk about it. Because I have my own individual perspective. I have my own outlook on it. And I want to add to the conversation because this is an ongoing topic. It's been something that actually has been discussed for years now. So, without further ado, as you guys know, you know what I do. You know what I'm about. I get cooking on this channel. That's what I do. So I'm going to slide into my kitchen. I'm going to give you guys something, serve y'all something up good. All right. Platonic relationships. It's a heavy topic. And mainly because a lot of people say they don't work. And I'd have to say that I disagree. And why is that? I'd have to say I disagree because, see, it's not that platonic relationships don't work. It's that people are not honest. People are not honest with their true intention of the connection that they want to pose as a friendship, which is why platonic relationships don't work. Let's talk about this word friend zoning, or the phrase friend zoning better. To say I friend zone someone implies that there was other interests other than friendship. There would be no purpose to friend zone someone who, if all you had from jump was the interest of friendship. The friend zoning mark or stamp only comes from the idea that you have formulated curiosity and thought of that individual being more to you than a friend. And why can I stand on that? Why can I say that? Well, because it's the truth. See, a lot of people want to try to pose this, oh, well, we were friends and then things happened, or we were friends and then we just all of a sudden start liking each other. Nonsense. People decide in seconds the interest that they have in a person. And a lot of times that interest is not so much pure in the sense of platonic. Because platonic friendship implies that relationship shares non-sexual interaction. That's what it implies. That is the whole covering of it being platonic. When a relationship is not platonic, this means that these individuals will at some point have sex, or some form of sex, or some form of activities that are not under the blanket of friendship. Now, this is something that disturbs me for a lot of reasons. Because, see, it is not common practice that guys friend zone women. The friend zoning decision usually comes from the standpoint or the practice of women. Women are the ones that are usually the ones who will say, we can be friends. And why is that? Again, it goes back to what I said moments ago. This would imply that you were open to something else. See, one of the things I've done, and I can't even tell you where I got it from. I can just say that for as long as I can remember, I've always had female friends in abundance. Definitely have my male friends, but I've always had the ability to acquire female friends. And the acquisition of these friends were never based on sex. You know, I used to have these friends when I was a lot younger. I mean, really young. At the stage in life where I wasn't even having sex, wasn't thinking about sex, wasn't curious about sex, sex just wasn't a thing. And interesting enough, as I got older, I remained in that same state of mind. So I never looked at women as just, I just want to take her clothes off. That wasn't my thought pattern, my process. I could identify with her as a person, and then wanting to know more about the person or wanting to get to know the individual. She just so happened to be female. What the heck ever. But I will tell you that one thing I did do, and I still do till this day, is I do not interact with females that I find attractive and then try to fool myself that all I want from this interaction is pure platonic friendship. And that has been something that I've stuck to as a standard for myself. Now, I've been alive long enough to realize that not a lot of people do this. Matter of fact, most people don't. Most people utilize the term friendship to have access or an excuse to interact with the opposite sex, without going directly after the destination or the thought that they had when it comes to participating in activities that aren't friendship-like. The reality is, men want to have sex with women, women want to have sex with men. And you usually know that within a few seconds of interacting with the individual based on pure and utter attraction. The problem is, again, is that people don't want to be honest. People want to make it seem like they didn't have these internal thoughts of how they viewed this person. They knew that when they laid eyes on Lisa, that Lisa was fine, that Lisa was sexy, that Lisa looked like she had nice skin, and that your interest in Lisa was physical. Now, for so many reasons, variables per se, maybe Lisa wasn't available, maybe Lisa wasn't interested at the time, maybe Lisa was out of your league, who knows? But when presented with when Lisa was presented with what you initially wanted when you seen her in your head, the initial thought, when she was presented with that idea and she rejected that idea, well, you were left with a choice. You could either, fall back and no longer interact with her because your initial thought was not to be her friend. Your initial thought that was that you were attracted to her. You wanted to have sex with her, but she wasn't offering that. So what is the consolation prize? What's the second runner-up? Friendship. And this here lies the problem, because women do the same thing. Women friend zone guys for a number of reasons. Maybe she has her attention on another person. Maybe she's waiting around on another guy. Maybe she just got out of a relationship. Whatever the case may be. The friend zone has become a resting area for people in their interactions. And the problem is that people have no idea how to set proper boundaries. It's very simple to become a friend with someone of the same sex when you're not participating in a homosexual lifestyle. Because it's never a question if you're going to have sex with that person. Like, there's never a time that I'm friends with a guy and that the idea of us having intimacy, sex at all crosses my mind. That's not a thing. So it's an automatic parked position of platonic, right? Well, here's my problem. When did friendship belong only in the sector of same sex? I thought we were all developed, mature people, and that the ability to form a friendship should be possible through male and female interactions. Now, I will say this requires, in my opinion, honesty with self. See, I personally don't befriend girls that I'm attracted to. If I've ever made a female my friend, participated in the friendship connection, it's because there is no thoughts of sex with her. There is no curiosity of sex with her. There's no attraction of sex with her. From me, not even her, from me. So I can participate in having a friendship and being solely, excuse me, being solely interested in getting to know her as the person that she is and not having to ever share in sexual activity. I don't understand why that is not possible for most people. And some may be asking, well, Daniel, why are you talking about this? Where did this come from? I was watching one of the Le Peep Let's Talk episodes, and they were talking about, one of the topics they were talking about was friendships, platonic friendships, and how the boundaries should change once you go from having these friendships to now having a relationship. And for me, that's confusing, because, see, again, it goes back to honesty. Some people, even on the podcast, they talked about it being a sign of respect. Well, I'm trying to figure out how it's a sign of disrespect. Because if you're telling me that the people are picking these friendships, and then the only difference between their friendship in a single state and their friendship in a non-single state means that, to me, it says that they had to make the choice of that friend through ill intent, and that the mindset behind choosing that friend was not housed in pure interest, pure practices, safe boundaries. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. Why is it that a person is not living their life like that? Why is it that grown people are not making these choices in that manner? Because if that is the case and that is the practice, then that would mean that a relationship status change should not now dismantle or reposition these friendships or curtail the movement of that friendship, if that friendship was built on the very foundation of pure and utter friendship. And therein lies the problem. People are out here trying to pretend like they're actually building friendships, where in most cases, one or both parties are actually attracted to each other, but for whatever reason, they don't decide to participate in that part of growing that relationship romantically or sexually at that point in their life. And then that makes sense on why now a new person comes into your life that is actually interested in you romantically, and obviously you're interested in them romantically. So now you have to reposition your friendships. You have to re-strategize and restructure your friendships to allow for your romantic relationship to succeed. I don't get that. I don't get why your friendships that, if built off of the right stuff, would have to be recalibrated now because you have a woman in your life or a man in your life. That would tell me that at some point you did not operate this relationship off of pure interaction, that you either knew that you were attracted to that person and you covered it and positioned it, well, you carried it out under the clause of friendship, or vice versa. That person was interested in you and you knew it the whole time, but you tried to mask it under the safety net of friendship, knowing good well that person has always wanted to be with you. So I want to know, why is it that people are not capable of operating from this premise? That the reason why the restructuring of the relationships are happening, and the reason why all these trust issues are an issue to begin with, is that people are not operating from a place of integrity and honesty. And that creates the norm that we have now, the practices that we have now, where people feel that when they actually enter into a relationship, that they now have to request, if not demand, for the person to now restructure the boundaries of that relationship. I'm here to say that I believe that those boundaries of your relationship should already be existent in your day-to-day practices prior to that person showing up. Especially if you have a plan of ever being with somebody. If you have a plan of ever being with somebody, I would think that you would prepare for that. I would think that you would live your life in a manner that would be permissible in the event that you enter into a relationship. And therein again lies the problem, is that there is no parameters, there is no limitation, there is no standard, there is no boundaries. People are doing and conducting themselves as freely as they like prior to relationships. And then when the relationship shows up, now they want to try to place boundaries and certain limitations. And I'm here to tell you, well, it's too late at that point. You should be preparing for a relationship from day one. Before that person ever shows up, you should be preparing for the relationship in your future through your daily practices right now. So if you decide to be friends with certain people, those friendships should be built off of the very thing that is platonic. No sex, no physicality, and it should be based on something pure. If you're out here building relationships off of the very lie that is you saying we're friends, when in all honesty you have interest in that person, well then you're dead wrong. And you're contributing to the issue that so many people have dealt with current day. So I just wanted to touch on that today. I wanted to give you guys something to think about. If you're liking the content, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it. For those who hung out with me for the whole 18 minutes and some change, I appreciate you. And I'm going to continue to bring this content because these things need to be discussed. These things need to be talked about. So I'm going to go ahead and slide out my kitchen. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Till next time. Thank you.